Hey, it's Dave here. Want to take Alexa automations to the next level? In this video, I'm going to show you how to connect Node-RED to Alexa to control various smart devices like plugs directly from Node-RED, and I'm also going to show you how to trigger Node-RED process flows from your Amazon Echo devices using your voice. This means you're not limited to Alexa's built-in routines feature, and you'll be able to make custom automations to work exactly how you want them to. This video splits into two parts: how to control Alexa devices from Node-RED and how to control Node-RED process flows using Alexa voice commands or routines. If you're only interested in one part, use the chapter sections below to navigate ahead. I'm going to start off by showing you how to trigger Amazon Echo devices using Node-RED, particularly smart plugs. Because one of the comments on a video I made earlier was here, where it's from Vijay Kumar. He's saying in the comments section, is it possible to make a video using Node-RED / Home Assistant to control only Alexa compatible smart plugs, please? Now, while this is possible to achieve, I may not be giving you the best solution, but I'm going to head over to Node-RED and show you how it's done. Navigating to Node-RED, you're going to need to make sure you have the following node already installed, or if not, you need to install it. If you click on the three horizontal lines on the top right, go to Manage Palette, go to Install and do a search for that one, either this one or version 2. Both of them will work, and you can check if they're installed just by going to the Nodes tab, and you can see I've already got one of them installed. I'm not going to go into too much detail as to how to install and configure that node, because I've already made a video earlier which details that step by step, which I will link in a description. Once you've already done those steps, what you will need to do is click on Filter Nodes and do a search for Alexa. And the one you want to bring up is Alexa Smart Home. Double click on that. Make sure your account is selected and signed in with your Amazon accounts. Make sure the select drop-down menu is set to action, and here you can see a list of all your Amazon Alexa devices, including plugs. I'm going to use blanket as an example because I've got an electric blanket which is plugged into a smart plug, and I can control that through various automations. I've already got an example here of it working. This one just turns it on, and this one turns it off. You should see in the bottom right of the screen, I've just got a live recording of the plug, so you can see the light turning off and on when I action it. I'll just warn you, there does seem to be a limitation of how frequently you can run this, otherwise it will fire an error of too many retries. I'm just going to run the inject node to turn it on, and you can see the red light is on, so it is working. I'm now going to try to turn it off, and that has turned off. If I do it too quickly, you can see there it's firing up an error message saying too many requests. If I just run it again, eventually it will work. You can see there it's worked, but there does seem to be some limitations running it this way. So while that does answer your question, it's probably not the best solution. Ideally, what you want to do is have a plug which integrates directly with Home Assistant, and then you can use the service node. I'm just going to very quickly show you that. So if you go to Settings and then go to Devices and Services, and then go to Add Integration, this particular plug is Tuya, so I would fire up Tuya and then I would go through the steps of integrating it. Other brands may work, some might not, but assuming you've got a plug that is compatible with Home Assistant, that's the better way of doing it. I'm just going to switch back to Node-Red, and what you're going to need is the service node. If you search for service, you'll find action. Click onto that. The action will be switch.turn-on or switch.turn-off, and then click add entity, and you're just going to find your plug. Because I've already integrated it, this plug shows, but if you haven't integrated it, it's not going to show as an option. But this is a more reliable way of doing it, and I've got an example here where it uses the inject node, but this time it's doing switch.turn-on and switch.turn-off for a Tuya plug that's been integrated into Home Assistant. So I'm just going to run the turn off. That's turning off. And I can do that quicker, and I'm not getting any error messages when I do this. So that's a much better way. Hopefully that answers your question. The first thing you're going to need to do is navigate to the following web page, which will take you to the node-red-Alexa-home-skill portal. From here, you're going to click register if you don't already have an account. If you have, you can just skip this part. Then you're going to give yourself a username, type in your email address, give it a password, and then you are going to click register. Now we are going to create a device. So if you go to the devices tab, and then you're going to click add device, and then you're going to give this a name, and the name you set is what it will appear in your Alexa and your Node-Red. Now what you might want to do is always use a prefix. I've been using node-red_ as a prefix, and it will later come in useful because then you can recognize all the devices that show in your Alexa are these Node-Red devices. I'm just going to call this test. Now bear in mind, whatever you give that name, you cannot change it later on. So once you've saved it, that is set. However, the description you can always later change. So you may want to have some sort of a naming convention that you follow when you're creating these devices. Again, I've used node-red_ and then I give it a name. These are the values which the Amazon Echo can actually control. I'm just going to simply have an on and a off command for this. So those two boxes are now checked. And I'm just going to say this is a plug. So it's going to recognize it as a plug with an on-off. If this was a light, you may want to check the light switch part and check the percentage as well. And now I'm just going to click OK. And now you can see I've created a Node-Red device. Heading back over to Home Assistant, we are now going to open Node-Red, and you're going to click on the three horizontal lines, go to Manage Palette, change the tab to Install, and we're going to install the following node, which is this one here. Click Install, install again. Once that's installed, you can click Close. And now from here, where it shows filtered nodes, I should have at least these two showing as an option. Now we're going to configure the account. So if I just drag that into here, double click, At the moment I don't have an account, so I'm just going to click plus. And this is the credentials for this portal here where you created the account. So it's not your Amazon account credentials, it's the credentials for this. So I'm just going to sign in and then click add. If you've got the credentials correct, you should automatically see under device, it's already showing 2 of those devices. If I go back to this tab and go to devices, you can see here, that's the 2 devices that I created earlier. And now I'm going to click done. The next stage is you need to open the Alexa app on your mobile phone or tablet and enable the node-red skill. I'm recording this from an Android device, but it should be pretty similar if you're using an Apple product. If you navigate to more and then click skills and games, then you're going to search for node-red and then search. It's going to give you multiple answers, and the one you want is node-red. Click on that. Then you're going to click enable to use. And then you're going to sign in with the account you created earlier. So this isn't your Amazon account, it's the Alexa node-red account you created from that web portal. Once you've entered your credentials, click authorize. And then save if you want to. You should then get some sort of a prompt to say it was successful, and then click next. And then give it about a minute, and if you've already created some node-red devices, it should automatically find them. In this example, you can see one of the node-red plugs I made earlier is already showing up. So I'm going to click next. I'm just going to skip adding it to a group and then click done. And now if I go to devices, you can now see node-red_test is now showing from the Amazon Alexa app. Now if you're wanting to add any additional devices, I'm just going to go through that step very quickly. So if you go to the plus icon on the top right, click add device. If you scroll down to the bottom, just click other. And then if you click can't find a matching logo, and then just click not sure, and then give it about a minute while it searches for the new devices. And now you can see it's found a new device which I created from the Alexa node-red portal. So I'm going to click next. I'm going to skip adding it to a group. And now you can see node-red_test2 is set up and ready for use. So I'm just going to click done. And you can see here I've got 2 Alexa node-red devices. I'm just going to add the debug node just to show this is working. So if I drag that here, click deploy, and at the moment I've configured it so it's using node-red test, and I'm just going to click on that debug tab. So if I just use this command, Alexa, turn on node-red test.
Okay.
And you can see there it's got the value of true. Alexa, turn off node-red test.
Okay.
and then you can see it's got the value of false. So you could use that for triggering various node-red process flows based on the value of true or false. Going back to here, true or false is basically off or on. So I could also add percentages, and I could maybe say set X to the value of 50%. So basing on what actions you're going to want to trigger, you can add these extra features here. Another example to prove that this does work, and based on the conditions it will go to different sections of the process flow, is I've just added a switch where it's got true or false, and then it will go to a different function node, and it's just setting the message.payload to one of these values or the other. So if I just test this now, Alexa, turn on node-red test.
Okay.
So you can see there it's showing in the debug section, Alexa, turn off node-red test.
Okay.
And then you can see there it's got values set as false, turning off. So you can see it is going to one or the other based on the value being true or false, or on and off. Moving back over to the Alexa app, if you didn't want to say Alexa turn on node-red test, and you wanted to say something like turn on cinema mode, because one of the things I'm working on is a routine where it will automatically turn the lights off or on based on whether cinema mode is on. So you can go to more, then go to routines, then click create routine, then give it a name. I'm just going to call it turn on cinema mode, and then for when, it will be when I say turn on cinema mode, click next. And then for the action, if you look for smart home, and then you should see here devices, it's got node-red test. I'm going to select that, I'm going to set the value to on, and then save. You'll want to duplicate this routine and have the turn off version where it sets the value to off. So now that's going to work when I demo it. Navigating back to node-red, here's an example routine I've made previously, and I've just called it cinema mode. And essentially what it does when enabled is it will automatically turn all the lights off, close the curtains, so I get that kind of immersive experience. However, if I was to walk into the kitchen to perhaps grab myself a cup of tea or a drink, it would turn the kitchen lights on, and then as soon as I walk back to the lounge and sit down, the lights would turn off automatically, which is a really helpful, cool routine. However, sometimes you want the function or feature to be able to turn off a routine like this, and this is where this particular skill comes in handy, because it enables you to use a voice command to disable this feature. So I'm just going to move over to a sample video where I show this in action. So as you can see in a second, I'm just sitting down watching TV, and then I'm going to call the Alexa command. And what you'll see is the lights will turn off, the curtains you can just see in the background closing, and as I walk towards the kitchen, the lights automatically turn on. I'm just grabbing myself a quick drink. I'm now walking back towards the lounge, and then shortly after sitting down, you're then going to see the lights are going to turn off, which is really cool. And then I'm going to manually disable the feature, which will automatically turn the lights back on and disable the routine. So I'm just going to walk towards the kitchen just to prove that nothing's happening, and then I'm going to head straight back towards the lounge, sit down, and you'll see the lights are no longer going to automatically turn off. So it's just a really helpful routine that just allows you to enable or disable it via an Alexa command. Now you know how to control Alexa devices from node-red. and how to trigger node-red process flows using Amazon voice commands or routines. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button and subscribe if you want to continue seeing more smart home automation tutorials. Bye for now.